I was a very, very sick child. And she believes that because she spent much of her time before her pregnancy with me, during and immediately after her pregnancy with me, basically malnourished,
Mm-hmm.
that contributed to my sicknesses. I had severe food allergies. I was basically, I tell people I was allergic to American food.
Mm-hmm.
All the grains, the dairies, the egg, all of it, I was allergic to. It was a blessing that my mother was Asian, because at least we could have rice. She grew some vegetables in a garden that she had in the backyard,
Yeah.
and she could keep me sustained on that once I started eating solid food. Before that, I honestly have no clue how she kept me alive, because she couldn't even breastfeed me.
Yeah.
And she actually developed severe allergies
Mm-hmm.
during her pregnancy with me. And I also had severe environmental allergies. So this quote of yours and what you're saying, and I'm a little envious of the community that you grew up in, because we had no access when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It really drives that thought home of how important food is to the next generation,
Yes.
because I think my health was irrevocably altered due to not just the trauma my mother experienced as an infant in war-torn Korea,
Yeah.
but also in her experience as an immigrant to America who couldn't digest the food.
Right. And I think that's a really important point, the inability to digest American food. One of the, I feel like, failures of a lot of functional medicine, and people are going to hate me for saying this, and nutrition across the board, is it's very Americanized.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a patient years ago now who was of Indian descent, not Native American Indian, but Indian. And she was here in the US and was having thyroid issues and was seeing a functional medicine practitioner. And the diet they expected her to go on really, it forced her to throw everything she knew about cultural and her food and throw it out the window, right? Clear out her pantry and eat a primarily American based nutritional approach. They had her doing smoothies every day. They had her eating, chicken and meals that she would never have eaten, right? Because culturally, she didn't know how to prepare those. That wasn't part of her ancestral culture. And it neglected that. And in a way, was disrespectful to her history. Instead of saying, oh, okay, you're Indian. Well, let's look at what foods you know how to cook and how do we make what you do better for you. And in her body, just kind of like talking about you unable to digest American food, her biggest struggle, because she had Hashimoto's, was the fact that she was having reactions to foods that were more Americanized than the foods that she had from her traditional Indian diet. And by putting her on this, basically, they had her on a paleo diet, right? The Americanized paleo diet. They were causing more harm than good. Where for her, we needed to talk about her ancestry, her genetics, and how her body genetically digested food based off of where her ancestry comes from. And you find people who are from more Asian, Polynesian descent, Native American descent, right? We're all very similar in that genetics, right? My mom did 23andMe and it came up that she was part Anasazi, and she was like, that's funny, right? It's because Korean and Anasazi genetically come from similar lines, right? So there's a little bit of the genetics there that we don't digest dairy very well,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because dairy is not a part of that ancestral diet. And so you have to take that into account when you're working with people as broad as I work with people, right? I have patients from almost every corner of the world at this point, and I can't have a generic protocol. Paleo diet, keto diet, these are Americanized diets based off of extreme diet modalities. It's, to me, keto is the same as vegan. When you're working with people as broad as I work with people, right? I have patients from almost every corner of the world at this point, and I can't have a generic protocol. Paleo diet, keto diet, these are Americanized diets based off of extreme diet modalities. It's, to me, keto is the same as vegan.